boom. That's how it works out, get sweat.
He used to break the bag.
Yeah.
He used to knock him down. Yeah.
Heavy puncher.
The heaviest?
Yeah.
His strength was his everything.
Yeah.
And like this, and so, he pulling the big old truck on his shoulders and all this and stuff like that.
Reached out and called him several times just to talk. Good guy. George is a great man.
Boxers have spoken with great respect about the late George Foreman, remembering his incredible power and legacy. Legends like Mike Tyson called him the hardest puncher ever, saying his strength was so unreal that he used to break heavy bags while training. His punches were destructive, and many fighters feared facing him in the ring. Even in his later years, he knocked out top fighters, proving himself as one of boxing's most feared and dominant champions.
Mayweather used to just stand in front of the back, right? Just like that, 40 minutes, throw a couple hooks.
George Foreman, too. He took the bag. Boom. That's how it works out, get sweat.
He used to break the bag.
Yeah.
He used to knock him down. Yeah.
Heavy puncher.
The heaviest?
Yeah.
See, I thought that was you.
Nah, I can't match somebody's powers who's that big and that much mass. The only thing that allowed me to be excited because I threw it faster than the other guys.
More explosive. How did you explode like that? Was that natural?
No, nothing's natural. I was nothing about me natural. Only my desire to win was natural. I had a great teacher.
Did he instill that desire in you, your coach?
No, only you can do that. Yeah. You're born with it and somebody can elicit it out of you.
Muhammad Ali praised George Foreman for his determination and confidence in the ring. He said Foreman never backed down and always fought with relentless power. Even though he lost to Ali in the famous Rumble in the Jungle, Foreman gave his best, showing his incredible strength, heart, and warrior spirit.
Just before the fight, I'm looking at him. I said, sucker, you are in trouble tonight. You are fighting the greatest fight of all times. You heard I was the greatest, like you just said you heard this, now you see it. I said, you said I was the greatest, but you're gonna see. I'm fast, sucker. I'm gonna burn you up. You're fighting your idol. I talked through the whole fight. I said, come on, sucker. I said, show me something. They told me you could hit hard. You're just a sissy. Come on, sucker. Show me something. Oh, I grabbed his head sometimes and I said, look at you. Round 7, and you're tired. You have 8 more rounds to go. And he's just throwing them. He's breathing. I said, oh, you finished, boy. You are in trouble. I said, you don't have but 2 chances, slim and none.
In 1973, George Foreman faced Joe Frazier in a legendary fight. Frazier, the reigning heavyweight champion, was known for his relentless style and had previously beaten Muhammad Ali. But Foreman showed incredible dominance, knocking Frazier down 6 times in just 2 rounds before winning by technical knockout. This victory earned him the WBA and WBC heavyweight titles and shocked the boxing world, as few expected such a one-sided fight.
Whoever is scared of anybody in the ring. Now be honest. Ali,
it's strange. I wasn't afraid of Muhammad. I lost the title to Muhammad, but I remember Joe Frazier. He was the toughest guy I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Smoking Joe Frazier. My mother watched him fight on television, and he hit a guy so hard the guy turned his back. And I kept thinking, I want to be champ of the world, but I sure hope Joe Frazier died. It was time to fight Joe Frazier, and I knew if you hit him, he liked it. If you miss him, he'd get upset. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? But I had this habit of staring guys down. I look them in the eye to psych them out. If they dropped their head, I knew I had an advantage, but I was hoping Joe Frazier wouldn't drop his head because my knees were shaking. At that time, I wish I had even started that.
After a 10-year break, George Foreman made a surprising return to boxing in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Many critics doubted he could compete at a high level because of his age and time away from the sport. But in 1994, at 45 years old, he proved them wrong by defeating the undefeated Michael Moorer to win the heavyweight title. This made him the oldest heavyweight champion in boxing history, a record that still stands. Foreman's comeback is one of the most inspiring stories in sports, showing that determination and resilience can overcome any challenge.
Throughout the years, if any, or would you like to share a little bit about that?
Well, George and I have always spoken to each other cordially. I've reached out and called him several times just to talk. Good guy. George is a great man.
Evander Holyfield, a former heavyweight champion, spoke about how tough it was to face George Foreman. He said Foreman was the hardest puncher he ever fought and had incredible strength. Foreman's training included unusual methods like pulling trucks to build power and endurance. Holyfield also shared that their fight took a serious toll on him, even causing him to lose teeth, which showed just how powerful Foreman was and why he was deeply respected in boxing.
It's like a world of hurt going into this fight.
Well, George Foreman, the only way he promoted his strength. His strength was his everything.
Yeah.
And like this, and so, he pulling the big old truck on his shoulders and all this and stuff like that. And so, I had people talking about, well, he did this, he did that. I said, look, hey, boxing is not all boxing. I said, no. I said, he got to try to hit me. I said, he's slow as Christmas. I said, he's slow as Christmas. I said, he's not fast. I said, so he throw these big shots. But the difference is that he got good timing. And so that's what I realized, because I pulled back, and by the time I pulled back from the shot ain't got done yet. Bam! I bring my head back because that's how slow he is, his timing. But he got right time. He know that you gonna come back at the right time when you, because he's supposed to be gonna miss me, and I come back.
Bam.
When I come back, it's coming. Oh,
yeah.
Right? So I realized, okay, then I got to dance around him a little bit and pack him like this, and so the whole big thing about boxing is making the guy come forth while you punching at the same time. That's how you can maximize your power on him. And I was able to do it sometime, but he was a good disciplined fighter. He didn't lose all this energy on me. He was able to push it off with the big arms and maul me. He kind of mauled me in the corner a lot. I couldn't even get out. He was so much stronger.
Renowned boxing trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas has often praised George Foreman as one of the greatest in boxing history. He highlighted Foreman's incredible power and unique character both in and out of the ring. Atlas also admired how Foreman reinvented himself, going from a feared boxer to a beloved public figure, showing his versatility and lasting appeal. His respect for Foreman reflects the deep impact he had on boxing and his legacy as a special figure in the sport.
Redemption is a powerful word. It's a scary word, it's a powerful word. I know it firsthand. It's very powerful. Very powerful. And he had redemption on his side. George Foreman was a special man. Michael Moore was a special man. George Foreman got put into retirement by Muhammad Ali, really Jimmy Young, but Ali did it. And Ali broke down the monster that night in Zaire. He exposed the monster. He broke down this Herculean fighter that could knock down, walls. And he broke him down. And he made him live with that. He retired. He had one more fight. He got beat by Jimmy Young. Then he retired for 10 years. And he went into the church. He went into, God's work. And during those 10 years, he suffered privately. I know he did. He suffered privately what happened in Zaire. Because in some ways, maybe similar to Tyson, but I think he was stronger than Tyson in other ways, ultimately. But very similar, and similar backgrounds where they came from.
Boxing journalist Gareth A. Davies has praised George Foreman's incredible achievements and legendary status in the sport. He compared Foreman to having the explosive power of Deontay Wilder and the ferocity of Mike Tyson at the same time. This shows how Foreman's mix of raw power and aggressive style made him a tough opponent and a standout figure in boxing history.
He was covering the Rumble in the Jungle in the 70s, 74, 75 when he fought in Jamaica, and he fought in Venezuela and Caracas, when he fought in Zaire, Kinshasa, when he fought Norton, when he fought Frazier, and he just absolutely eviscerated them. You've got to remember what this guy achieved as a boxer, first of all. He won the Olympic, like you said, rightly said, in America. He's one of their greatest athletes. Won the Olympic gold for them in Mexico in 1968. As a real neophyte boxer, rather like Anthony Joshua did in London, where he hadn't had much of a career. You think after that, he turns pro, he beats Foreman. He beats Frazier, he beats Norton, and then he gets beaten by Ali. He's like Deontay Wilder and Mike Tyson rolled into one at the time. He's just destroying everyone. He's one of the biggest punchers of all time. I have interviewed him. I don't know how many times I interviewed him. Many, many, many times. And always through Bill Kaplan, his PR guy, who was his PR guy from the age of him being 18. And Bill's in his late 80s and still PRing him to this day, this very day. It's a really sad thing because, like you say, what I wrote earlier on was that he filled up a room, big booming laugh, but not trying to command attention.
Commentator and podcast host Joe Rogan has praised George Foreman's long and successful boxing career. Foreman had 76 wins with an impressive 68 by knockout and only 5 losses. Rogan called him a beast, highlighting his dominance and the fear he created in opponents. He also emphasized the importance of Foreman's victory over Joe Frazier, who had beaten Muhammad Ali and was one of the top heavyweights of his time. Foreman not only defeated Frazier, but did so in a dominant fashion, knocking him out and proving his incredible power and skill.
I want you to pull up George Foreman knocks out Joe Frazier. Oh, it was crazy. I thought Frazier was gonna die. He knocked him off his feet. That was a crazy one because that was when Joe Frazier just beat Muhammad Ali. Yep. And then you see what Foreman does to Frazier, and everybody thought that Foreman was going to crush Ali, and they were scared. The power is so extraordinary that if he catches you at all, he thumps you with that jab and then just swings at you. Oh, look at that uppercut. Oh, my God. Look at that right hand. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Look at that uppercut. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh my God, it's power. And here it is, boom. For the 5th time he's down. This is crazy, this fight. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, what a warrior Joe Frazier was.
ESPN analysts praised George Foreman for his resilience and lasting popularity, saying he was never counted out in boxing or life. He reinvented himself beyond the ring, finding success with his famous grill line, which made him even more popular than his boxing career. His adaptability and charisma made him a beloved figure, showing his impact both in and outside the sport.
A half a century ago. Let's talk about that guy first. Tell us about the young George Foreman.
Well, if you look at boxing as a continuum, he was somewhere between, he was the scary guy. So he's between Sonny Liston and Mike Tyson. And, you know, Joe Frazier was about as tough a guy who's ever laced up gloves. He put him down 6 times. And I think that really crystallized Foreman's reputation as invincible. Everybody, you know, who's going to put down Joe Frazier 6 times? And it set up the Rumble in the Jungle, arguably as famous a fight as ever there was. For Ali.
After 10 years of retirement, George Foreman made one of boxing's greatest comebacks. Many thought he was too old and out of shape to compete, but in 1994, he proved them wrong by knocking out Michael Moorer to win the heavyweight title at 45 years old. This victory made him the oldest heavyweight champion ever and won the hearts of fans worldwide.
About Foreman than perhaps anyone else is the idea you cited before of reinventing yourself. It's uniquely American, but it's never been done this way in boxing. It wasn't just coming back as a preacher and a pitchman and selling hamburgers or grills or whatever it was. It was more purposeful than any of us knew as far as boxing. The previous oldest heavyweight champion, I believe, was Jersey Joe Walcott, who won when he was 37. Foreman came back when he was just shy of his 46th birthday, I think 2 months shy. And in doing it, it was his own kind of rope-a-dope that night against Michael Moore. I'll never forget it. He took punches. Moore was a really skilled guy, and he just beat him up for 9 rounds. Moore did with a great right jab.
In the 1970s, George Foreman was seen as a ruthless and unstoppable force in boxing. Unlike the charismatic Muhammad Ali or the tough Joe Frazier, Foreman rarely showed emotion in the ring. His cold, aggressive style and powerful punches made him look like an unbeatable machine. Many fans saw him as the bad guy because of how he dominated and destroyed his opponents, especially Frazier in 1973 and Ken Norton in 1974. However, this image came more from his quiet nature than any real villainous behavior. After making history by winning the heavyweight title at 45, Foreman continued to fight for a few more years before retiring in 1997.
You know, he didn't just reinvent himself. He was a bad guy who came back as a guy who was universally loved. That's a very difficult thing to do in any piece of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he basically changed everyone's mind about himself, and really a remarkable life. Our boxing commentator, Mark Kriegel, sharing some memories, some insight into George Foreman. Mark, thank you. George Foreman, born in 1949, has passed away here in 2025 at the age of 76.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's keep our news accurate.